You're listening to the SmackDown RunDown on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome to another edition of the SmackDown RunDown, broadcasting live in the Angry Marks Podcast Network and inside the Angry Marks chat room here on angrymarks.com. Yes, it is I, the one and only Nikolai, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, King J.
The King has arrived.
And King J, I hope you're nice and warm down there in the south where you're at, because I am freezing my ass off in the middle of this blizzard.
I actually miss the snow.
You actually miss it? Well, you can come travel up here and take some of it.
Look, I'm from the north, so I'm used to snow. I miss actually being in Pittsburgh when it snows, because it's awesome. Because even though it snows, nothing gets closed down. We still operate that city like ain't nothing ever happened.
Well, I don't mind the snow. It's just when it snows sucks, and shoveling sucks. Other than that, no major problems. But, I still managed to survive throughout the blizzard. They actually put a driving ban in my state and in surrounding states as well to prevent people from going out in the blizzard. So, it's pretty serious, although, got just about 2 feet of snow, but that's not going to stop me from broadcasting the SmackDown RunDown.
Of course not, because nothing ever stops us.
And even bad television won't stop us from venting out all of our problems. Hell, there's plenty proof of that on the Raw reaction with Chris Judd and Killer Kev. But here on SmackDown, we normally have good shows, but I was not impressed with last night's episode. How about you?
Really? You didn't like last night's episode?
Listen, I was not in the mood for a lot of the stuff going down. That doesn't mean everything, but I don't know. I'll get into it further as we go along, but yeah, I was not all that enthused about it.
There were some parts that really stood out to me, and true, there were other parts that were kind of like, okay, this is here. These people are having a match. Why? But the highlight of SmackDown, and we'll get into him and all his drops later, Mark Henry. Mark Henry was the star of SmackDown last night. Forget the Big Show Alberto Del Rio feud. Forget that interspecies relationship between Natalya and the Great Khali. Forget about JBL, ripping Josh a new one every week on commentary. Forget about Friday being where we all love to fight. It was Mark Henry. It was WWE Friday Night SmackDown starring Mark Henry.
Yeah, I even had a working title for the SmackDown recap. It was Mark Henry returns and dominates. I tweaked it a little bit, but that was the whole gist of it. And hell, let's just jump right into it. Mark Henry, he made his big return this past Monday night on Raw, where he just basically demolished 3 men. Yes, granted, 2 of them are little luchadors, and
Lucha.
Both of them don't even weigh more than 300 pounds put together. But he also had Daniel Bryan there, and Mark Henry just easily tossed him aside. And he came back on SmackDown. Listen, he went from 3 little guys to 1 giant. He threw Titus O'Neil aside and had one of our favorite quotes that we were just talking about.
Yes. Sit down. Grown folks finna talk.
Yes, that's right. Mark Henry always comes with some of the good quotables, even if he's not even trying. And then he proceeded to get in the ring and give the Great Khali the world's strongest slam. Always impressive.
Yes, it definitely was, and he beat Khali like he stole something. And in my opinion, Khali did. Khali stole his Elimination Chamber spot, so he was like, oh, you think you're gonna get my spot? I don't think so. I'm gonna beat you like you stole something.
You wait your turn.
Exactly. It wasn't his turn. It was Mark Henry's turn. Khali just got a little bit greedy because he got Natalya by his side, filling his head with these sweet little nothings. So he was bigging himself up. Mark Henry came back and took him down a notch. Well, actually, a couple notches.
Yeah, and after a commercial break, Mark Henry was still in the ring, and he gave one of the best promos that he's had since he's started this whole Hall of Pain gimmick. And he showed the clips of what he did on Raw, and he said, "This is what I do. You know, all this could have been avoided, but it's Booker T's fault. He left me out. He didn't call me when he put together a group of former world champions for the Elimination Chamber. How you forget the strongest man that ever lived?" He just basically called Booker T out and told him if he doesn't put him in the chamber match, then he's going to take out every man that's involved so he can be the only man left in the chamber before it even begins.
You don't want to make Mark Henry an angry man, and right now he looks very, very angry.
Yes, Mark Henry, the spokesman for Angry Marks.
Yes, he is. See, and all y'all were questioning why I kept Mark Henry employed while he was away, because I knew he was going to come back in a big way, and he was going to make an impact, and that's exactly what he did. And he put Booker T on notice. And you know, not many people can actually step to Booker T and tell him what he finna make them do. And Mark Henry is one of those few people who can be like, Booker, you put me in that match, you don't put me in it, everybody's gonna be gone. And he didn't say he was just going to take out the people in the Elimination Chamber. He said that he was going to take out the entire SmackDown roster. And Mark Henry's just the type of person who could do something like that.
Well, Booker T did not want that to happen, so he made him a deal. If he could pin or submit Randy Orton, then he would get his spot in the Elimination Chamber, which he did in the main event of SmackDown, which probably didn't even last 8 minutes, maybe 7. It was not the greatest match that these two have had. It wasn't even a main event caliber match, but Mark Henry basically dominated.
And you know what? It's funny that you say that because it didn't feel like a main event match, but in a realistic setting, it was just setting Mark Henry up to be taken that much more serious. Because, you know, Randy cut that promo earlier in the night saying that, well, he's been gone for like 9 months and we don't know if he still has it. But if he wants to step to me, I'll take him out. And obviously, Randy couldn't get the job done because Mark was on a mission.
Well, you know, during a commercial break, I have the WWE app on my smartphone and iPod Touch, but I was watching it during SmackDown, and they reminded me that back in Night of Champions 2011, Mark Henry was the man to beat Randy Orton for his first ever World Heavyweight Championship, and I remember that match. That was awesome. And I know this match on SmackDown wasn't exactly supposed to be a high quality match, but still, I remember the way that went down.
Yeah.
This one didn't really even compare. There were better matches on SmackDown, but this one just was simply to establish Mark Henry as being back, being dominant, and after pinning Orton, qualifying him for the Elimination Chamber match.
And because it was for that purpose, I'm perfectly fine with the match. It wasn't their best match together, but the way that he went at it and the way that he dominated, I was like, okay, they're actually taking Mark serious. He might not win Elimination Chamber, but I'd be fine with that because he out here and he putting in work. He beating everybody down. That's all I ever want from Mark Henry. I never want to see a smiling Mark Henry again.
Yeah, this is the best Mark Henry has been, the best character. Just when he's like this and dominant, he's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
But he's had quotables that we love so much. But as for the rest of SmackDown, I could have done without. There was a lot of things that went that I didn't have any time for, and I just wanted to end quickly.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
Exactly, and one example of that was the opening promo from Big Show, and he was just whining and complaining. He wasn't emo, he didn't have the hoodie over his head, he wasn't crying, but he was in his suit, and what was it? He called out Booker T and was demanding to know who gave Alberto Del Rio his hotel information. Like, really? That's what you're whining about? You got your rematch for the rematch of losing the World Heavyweight Championship. you have that match set for Elimination Chamber. You had Del Rio suspended. You're worried about hotel information? Really?
Now you take your heavy breathing and you take that drooling somewhere else.
Exactly. That's exactly what he needed to do, because he came out there, who gave up my hotel information? You 7 feet tall, 550 pounds like Booker T said, and you sitting there talking about, somebody gave up my hotel information. Who gave up my hotel? You 7 feet, you 500 pounds.
Ain't nobody gonna miss you.
Thank you. You acting like you Mucha Lucha, Rey Mysterio, or Sin Cara size. With your mask off.
Acting like he can blend in the crowd, like Del Rio could have had a lead pipe or something and threatened somebody for Big Show's room number, and they would have given it to him right away. Oh, you mean that big giant? Oh yeah, I remember he's in room 558 or whatever. You know, this was really stupid for a show to complain about.
It was, and Booker was over it. He's like, dude, really? You worried about your hotel room? How about you worry about the match that you're going to have later on tonight against Kane? And then he started complaining about that. He's like, I ain't have no time to prepare. I was uncomfortable. I was this. You're 7 feet tall, 500 pounds. Why is you sitting over here flexing about Kane?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for the Big Show to be complaining when he has a hoodie on, when he doesn't have a hoodie on, if he's wearing a suit, if he's wearing his ring gear. Don't nobody care that you upset about something. You 7 feet tall, 500 pounds. Just go out there and wrestle or punch people in the face, because obviously that's all you really want to do nowadays.
I'm sick of whining and complaining wrestlers. It's not just Big Show. It seems to be a lot of other people, and I understand that's what heels do, but at the same time,
yeah,
I need more dominance in the ring and backstage. So,
yeah.
Moving on from the Crybabies, we had a first match with Kofi Kingston versus Cody Rhodes, and this was really good. Back and forth, counter after counter, until Cody finally connects with the beautiful disaster kick and finishes him off with Crossroads for his first win after splitting with Team Rhodes Scholars and Damien Sandow.
Yeah, and I actually really enjoyed this match. If people are looking for a match to go watch on SmackDown, skip the first 20 minutes of SmackDown and go to this match. Because this match, it was a good back and forth match, and it looked like Kofi had the match won like 2 or 3 different times. But Cody ultimately picked up the win, and you know what? In all honesty, I know people are like, well, after Kofi loses the title, he loses all his matches, but this was a good competitive match, and it could have went either way. So I'm not mad that Kofi lost.
And I'm not mad that Cody won, because he needed this win to establish his singles career and get him moving forward, hopefully into, a main event title, because I'm sick of him being in the mid card. I'm sick of him going for the Intercontinental title and all that other stuff. So I don't think he's ready for the main event or the world title yet. But
right
on WWE main event this past Wednesday night, he came out complaining that he wasn't involved in the world title match or the Elimination Chamber #1 contender for the world title, and he demanded Booker T to come out, even though, Booker T has nothing to do with main event and doesn't care about the show just because he's general manager of SmackDown. I love that Cody Rhodes was complaining that he wasn't even involved, but Cody, you're not a former world champion.
And JBL brought that up during the match. He said that he believes Cody is a future world heavyweight champion, and he does understand his gripe that he's not in the chamber match to get a shot at the world title. But he also said at the same time, until you become a world champion, he wasn't going to get into this match.
Speaking of former world champions and tag teams breaking up and WWE main event, Josh Matthews suggested that Team Rhodes Scholars should break up, which I believe we said last week on the SmackDown RunDown. Thank you, WWE, for taking ideas, because we know you listen to this show, and we accept and appreciate your continued listenership. Anyways, Team Hell No were in the locker room, and Daniel Bryan went up to Kane, telling him that he did not intend for Kane to lose his match on Raw, and he even accepted Kane's apology for interrupting his match on main event, which Kane never apologized for, and they just went back and forth, and Kane just shut him up. Told him to shut your mouth, and I don't want to hear another word unless it's congratulations after I chokeslam Big Show to oblivion. So, yeah, another crazy and strange interaction between the two tag team champions.
Yeah, and Josh was all on. They should break up because they're so dysfunctional, and JBL basically called him an idiot, saying, why the hell would you want the tag team champions to disband? They're the champions of the division. Makes no sense. But I will give Josh credit. Team Hell No, you ran your course. In my eyes, you ran your course like 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. But everybody else was like, oh, Team Hell No. Yes. No, you guys just need to stop. Kane, go back to hell, regroup yourself, and come back and start setting people on fire again. Daniel, you can still be a crazy person and go do whatever.
I do love that Daniel kept gloating at the fact that he was in the Elimination Chamber, yet Kane is still not listed. And he had his match with Big Show and lost.
Yes, he did. And there was no interference by Daniel Bryan like there was on Main Event or on Raw.
Yeah, and, Kane lost his match on Monday Night Raw thanks to Daniel Bryan. He lost to Big Show on SmackDown thanks to Big Show, I guess. But I mean, what's this mean for Kane? He lost, so he's not in the Elimination Chamber, at least not yet. There's still 2 empty slots. What's going on? What are they doing with Kane and Daniel Bryan right now, since they're both exactly, one is scheduled to be in the chamber, the other is not, or whatever?
See, I don't know, because Daniel Bryan's in the chamber, Ray is in the chamber. Both of them, since they're both in the chamber, they're not having matches, the tag team title match on Elimination Chamber. So I don't know what they're going to do with Kane. Are they not going to put him in? And then he's going to somehow try and cost Daniel his chance to win the match, or what they're going to do with that.
I don't know. This whole thing is convoluted, and it seems like they had an idea of what they were doing, but yet they changed their minds again. It's like one of those situations.
Yeah, it really is, because, I don't know, it's just super confusing.
Yeah.
And another issue while we're talking about the Elimination Chamber real quick, I have an issue with Dolph Ziggler not being on Raw or SmackDown this week.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I know why they didn't put him on Raw, because they ran out of time because they were pushing other angles. But instead of that 20-minute promo to start SmackDown, you could have gave Dolph Ziggler a match against somebody. I mean, I like Kurt Hawkins and all, but he's sitting in the back and ain't doing nothing.
That is strange. I realized that Dolph Ziggler wasn't on Raw, but I completely did not even think about him not being on SmackDown or Main Event.
Duct tape? Are you serious? Really? Duct tape?
Oh, someone duct taped him to the back, and Big E is too dumb to cut him loose. I got it.
Okay, there's a lot of issues with Big E, but we ain't gonna get into that because that could turn into a 20-minute rant.
All right, well, speaking of rants, again, going back to the Big Show, complaining that Del Rio found him in the hotel room, yet Del Rio was suspended. You would think Big Show would be happy about it, but he was whining. And then later in the show, we saw Del Rio sneaking and lurking around in the parking lot. Okay, someone please explain this to me. The tires are taken off the tour bus, and Del Rio was standing on top of the bus, pours paint on him, and then all of a sudden, in the next camera shot, he's sitting on the tow truck with Ricardo, and Big Show was crying. Crying?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Okay, 3 things. Where did he find that many Mexicans to carjack a car? Well, not even a car, a tour bus. Number 2, how did he get all the way on top of the tour bus to pour paint on him and to get down so quickly to sit on top of the little tow truck to drive off?
Crying?
Are you serious? Really?
Really?
I don't know. Maybe Big Show's an emotional guy. We talked about...
I know he is, but he's not supposed to be as a giant.
I'm a monster!
And on top of that, the bus driver, who was, I guess, Big Show's assistant, Big Show was complaining that the thermostat was not at 68. It's supposed to be at 68, not 67, not 69, not 70, and you overcook my steak. You're gonna cook me up a new steak. You're gonna make it the way I like it. Oh, and the toilet's clogged up again. Make sure you fix that.
And then,
really?
And then he told his little assistant driver, whoever the hell he is, that he had to eat the burnt steak. All I'm saying is, Big Show, if you all up in your emotions like that, maybe you need to take care of things yourself.
You know, Big Show crying is something else that I do not have any time for.
Ain't nobody really got time for him.
Ain't nobody gonna tackle you with your ass cheeks out.
Exactly. Thank you, Wanda.
Exactly. Moving on.
All I know is that Big Show likes to get caught up in his emotions. And he need to let the emotions go. Because you see, when Mark Henry is feeling some kind of a way, he go out there and he beats somebody down. Big Show want to cry. I'm going to need him to man up. Because even though the great Khali with his tree-loving self is over there and he look oblivious and confused, when he wanted to take somebody out, he takes somebody out. Big Show just wants to sit there and cry. Man up. Just man up.
Anyway, speaking of manning up, Jack Swagger had a match with Justin Gabriel, and Swagger looks like a new man since his return. Yes, I know he's only faced Kofi Kingston and now Justin Gabriel and even Santino on Raw, but I like his intensity now. He wants to be in the Elimination Chamber. He's reminding all of us that he's a former World Heavyweight Champion because WWE does not have time to remind us that he is a former World Heavyweight Champion. Now, all of a sudden, he's back into the picture. I like the way he's going at it now.
I do. His push is really, really good. I only had one issue with this. Last time we saw Justin Gabriel, he was dressed up like a reindeer on the Christmas edition of Raw. Now he come back, he got new ring gear during his month, quote unquote, and he get beat like he stole something from Jack Swagger. Who the hell did he piss off?
I don't know. But Jack Swagger is now referring to himself as a real American, not the all-American American anymore. He's the real American Jack Swagger, and his ankle lock is now called the Patriot Act. Okay, I can get down with that.
Hey, Jack Swagger stock is going up because he's no longer in the doghouse for smoking weed all the time. So, as long as he's staying on the up and up, I'm good with it.
My special juice is gonna help me well.
What?
No.
Wait, what?
No. I don't want to think about special juice or honey boo boo or whatever. No.
You better recognize.
You actually understood what that little child said? Kudos to you for that, because I had no clue and I was just going to ignore it.
Unfortunately, when I do research, I do extensive research. So, moving on, we had, in my opinion, the best match of the night. Yes, I said it because it included Sin Cara versus Antonio Cesaro. And I think Antonio is the best opponent Sin Cara has had since he's been in WWE because he knows how to carry him around the ring, and I'm not talking about metaphorically, to do his moves. And even just a simple float over sunset bomb, Antonio really made it look devastating. He floated over, he made the bump look awesome. And he obviously finished him off with the neutralizer, which I was appreciative of. But I think this was the best match of SmackDown.
Yeah, this was definitely match of the night. And I know everybody out there is going to be like, wait, but Sin Cara was in it. Sin Cara, Antonio Cesaro, match of the night. This was the best match on the card. Second best match was Kofi Kingston versus Cody Rhodes. Because I don't know what it is about Antonio, but Claudio Castagnoli, whatever you want to call him, he brings out the best in his opponents.
Yeah, and he knows how to hold Sin Cara around and just help him move all around the place to do his little head scissors or his Hurricane Rana. You know, he makes it look beautiful. Because all the other guys, say, Cody Rhodes or, you know, Darren Young or all the guys that Sin Cara has faced, whether singles or tag team, like Cesaro seems to be the guy that makes it look like you're looking at a video game. How it looks fluid.
Yeah, it definitely does. He's had like a few opponents here and there that know how to work his style and contrast it to make it look a whole lot more believable. But with Cesaro, it's because he worked for Chikara and Ring of Honor, so he was used to working guys who had that similar type of style, so it works well. Of course, it's downgraded a little bit because it's WWE, but it came off as a solid, well put together match, and the segment after this match leads me to believe that Antonio Cesaro and The Miz are still feuding, even though The Miz got beat like a government mule.
But when The Miz was giving his interview during SmackDown and Antonio showed up, Miz threw the first punch, and it was like, oh yeah, these guys are feuding. But I did love the scuffle that they had. They had to be separated. I do like the way this feud is going because it's very long, extensive. They haven't had a one-on-one match. It hasn't been overly done. It's been drawn out slowly the way a feud should be.
Yeah.
You know, I just hope that, you know, Cesaro stays the champion and goes over Miz because he doesn't need that title again.
Exactly. That's what I hope happens with them. Oh, did you hear about our Intercontinental Champion, Wade Barrett?
No, I have not.
Well, apparently, the World Heavyweight Championship is SmackDown exclusive, like we know, even though some of our storylines happen on Raw. The WWE Championship is Raw exclusive. But now, apparently, the Intercontinental Championship is going to be main event exclusive.
Say what?
So even though Wade Barrett and that championship are technically SmackDown property, Wade Barrett's mainly going to be featured on main event from here on out, from what I've been hearing.
Well, for the past couple of months, Antonio Cesaro was always on main event. But I wouldn't think that anybody was exclusive to it.
Well, he's going to appear on both shows, but most of the main storylines for the Intercontinental Championship are supposed to be based on main event from here on out. And the United States Championship, the Tag Team titles, and the Divas Championship are supposed to alternate between the three shows.
I don't like that.
I don't either. But
well, there was supposed to be a tournament for the Intercontinental title on main event, but that was scrapped when Bo Dallas came on the scene.
Yeah. And now that he's here, they're going to have their feud for a bit, and then apparently they're going to redo the Intercontinental Championship Cup tournament at a later date, after WrestleMania, from what I've been hearing.
Okay.
So, they're trying to change things up. I'm still not clear how people are going to keep up with the Intercontinental Championship title picture if it's not featured on Raw and SmackDown. Because not everybody watches main event.
I actually am proud to say I watch main event. I actually like that show. It keeps the storylines going.
I see clips of it. I actually watched the entire episode this past Wednesday night, though, because the main event was, as Lay Cool used to say, it was flawless.
Yeah, the Funkadactyls actually had a match, so it was very strangely put together, but, you know, whatever.
But it worked, because Naomi was the star of the show.
Yeah, she came in, even though she was only in the match for 2 whole minutes, it was, you know, she showed what she can do in the ring, and, you know, Cameron actually didn't do that bad of a job playing the face in peril.
She didn't. She's still green, she's still learning, she's only been in the company for like a year and a half, 2 years, but she went out there and she did some good things. The only issues were, Tamina and Oksana were clunky at bits during things. The Funkadactyls actually did great.
Yeah. And speaking of the Funkadactyls, they too were on SmackDown because Tensai had a one-on-one match against Drew McIntyre. The rest of 3MB ran in the ring, caused a disqualification. So Brodus Clay made the save. Brodus Clay and Tensai took care of 3MB, and the Funkadactyls were trying to get Tensai to dance, and eventually he did.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly, no. I got to see, as JBL said, we had two fine Funkadactyls. Tensai, who's a former two-time champion over in Japan.
And former Intercontinental champion.
Yes. And then we had the Great Pumpkin.
That's what JBL called him.
Because that's what I'm calling him from now on. The Great Pumpkin and the Funkadactyls, starring Naomi Knight.
And Tensai danced again. So
I blocked out his dancing.
Let's just get this over with.
Because I blocked him when he was dancing as the Hip Hop Hippo back when he was teaming with Scotty Too Hottie. Because I wasn't for it back then. I'm not for it now. All I want to see is Naomi. Naomi, and maybe you could throw in Cameron on the side. But Naomi.
Well, there really wasn't much else to talk about on SmackDown. Yes, we kind of went all over the place, but the main topic of discussion was Mark Henry returning this week and dominating over everybody. He beat up 5 men and then 1 man in the main event. But like we said, he just ran over Randy Orton in the main event, just blocked the RKO, pinned him with the World's Strongest Slam, and closed out the show. I can't wait to see what else they're going to do with Mark Henry. I just love when he's in this mode. The Hall of Pain
is now open, and he's going to be inducting everybody into the Hall of Fame this time. I can't wait to see him and Del Rio go at it for the World Heavyweight Championship. Because I see either him or Jack Swagger winning this.
Well, as we get closer to the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, there are only 4 men that have been officially announced for the Chamber match itself. Mark Henry, Rey Mysterio, Daniel Bryan, and Randy Orton. Now, you remember we talked about it last week about who could possibly be facing the Shield, because we saw this coming. The Shield was going to have a match against Ryback, Cena, and we were trying to pick out that third partner because we were figuring Sheamus was involved in the Elimination Chamber, but that got changed. So Sheamus is now involved with the Shield match, which makes perfect sense anyways. But who do you think would be the final 2 men to be in that Chamber match?
Final 2, at this point, Randy Orton and Mark Henry.
Orton's already in. No, I'm talking about the final 2 announced. There's 2 empty slots.
Final 2 slots. The way it's going, they're going to put the Great Khali in there for some god-awful reason, and he's going to be horrible. And Christian.
Says, you pick Khali and Christian. I'm going with Jack Swagger and Kane.
Okay, because I just screwed up my own predictions. Jack Swagger's going to get in. It's going to be Jack Swagger and Christian. Because Jack Swagger's going to take out the tree next week.
I would love to see Christian back in the Chamber. I mean, reports say that he's ready to go anytime. Do you think that if he does return and he's in the Chamber, that they will reveal him on Raw or SmackDown, or will they save it for the pay-per-view itself?
If they bring him in, knowing WWE, they'll do it on Raw.
Yeah.
I would hope that they would do it on SmackDown.
Well, here's my problem. The Elimination Chamber is next weekend, and there are only 4 matches already scheduled. Yes, I know the pay-per-view itself only has about 5 or 6 matches. Hell, there were only 5 last year. But you have this Chamber match, and you only have 4 men announced in the Chamber, and it doesn't even look like Raw is having their own Chamber match. So, what does this mean? Is Raw going to throw in 6 random guys for their Chamber, or are we just going to keep it as the way it is and probably have Antonio versus The Miz at the pay-per-view?
We'll probably have Antonio versus Miz at the pay-per-view. The way they're going, we're going to end up having a Divas title match, I'm guessing, between Tamina and Caitlyn, or Caitlyn versus her shadow, or Caitlyn versus her two-toned hair. I don't know what they're going to do with her.
Well, you remember Tamina had a Divas title match at last year's Elimination Chamber, and that was against Beth Phoenix, which was one of her best matches. I don't know. They haven't really done anything with the Divas this entire week, so I would say putting it on the pay-per-view would not even make any sense.
I agree with what Sierra said. Just have Alundra Blaze come back, grab the Divas title, put it in the trash can, and the majority of the girls just go poof and disappear. That would work for me. We're going to have our number one contenders SmackDown Elimination Chamber match, the 6-man tag between The Shield versus Sheamus, Ryback, and John Cena. Maybe have the Intercontinental Championship match between Bo Dallas and Wade Barrett. Since we're having no tag team title match.
No. I clearly see Cesaro versus The Miz for the U.S. title, but that also, you know what? I just thought of something. If they do have the Divas title match, that should be on the pre-show.
A pre-show so that nobody sees it?
Hey, listen, man. Nobody thought that they were going to watch the SummerSlam pre-show, and Antonio Cesaro won the United States title that night.
I actually did watch that one. But I'm just saying because, people disregard the Divas any damn way.
Well, I'm not saying they're not going to watch it, but you remember, at the TLC or Survivor Series, I can't remember which pay-per-view it was, they had a Divas Battle Royale. Actually, it was TLC. They had a Divas Battle Royale on the pre-show, so why not have a Divas title match on the pre-show?
Okay, if they put it on the pre-show, then it'll probably end up being Caitlyn versus Tamina. Caitlyn will most likely go over, and then Caitlyn will have a feud for WrestleMania. I don't know who they're going to put in that spot, but
I would rather Cesaro versus Miz on the pre-show.
Yeah,
and then put the Divas title on the pay-per-view.
Because regardless of if it's Cesaro versus Miz or the Divas title, the match is going to be this break match, whichever one ends up being on the actual show.
Yeah.
If they put either of them on the show, that is.
Well, there's only the 6-man tag that you listed off, the Elimination Chamber number one contenders match for the world title, and the 2 main event title matches, the WWE title and the World Heavyweight title. Speaking of the WWE Champion, The Rock will be on Monday Night Raw next week, so let's hope that they can come up with some other interesting promo for CM Punk to whine that he's not the champion and then call himself champion for 449 days because he has the title of champion but not the belt and blah, 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 blah. The Rock will come out and say, you're not a champion, I'm the champion. If you smell what I'm cooking, blah, 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 blah. Maybe finally get the final 2 entrants in the chamber match on Raw so that we're not doing it last minute on SmackDown. I know WWE's listening to this show, so, there's some ideas for you. Anything else? Am I missing anything?
Let me see more of Naomi, less of the Great Pumpkin and his unhealthily looking fat tag team partner. I just want to see Naomi. I understand, the buys and everything, and I'm all for the big money and everything that's going into The Rock versus John Cena at WrestleMania and Rock versus CM Punk at Elimination Chamber and all the press and all that stuff. Cool with it. I'm tired of hearing Phil talk. Can he get strep throat or something so we don't hear him?
Well, I really have nothing else to predict for next week's TV. They haven't really left us much to the imagination, but I don't know. Hey, here's some interesting news. I just bought my tickets for SmackDown, the first SmackDown after WrestleMania, April 9th taping. So this will be the very first SmackDown that I will be attending to since we have started the SmackDown RunDown.
When was the last time SmackDown was up there?
The last time SmackDown itself was up here, I honestly don't remember the episode that it was, but it was definitely before it had to have been before 2010, because we've had Monday Night Raw and Royal Rumble in the meantime, but we haven't had any other SmackDown before that, before the summer of 2010, I know that's for sure. But here in Boston, we're getting the first SmackDown after WrestleMania, and the Survivor Series pay-per-view is coming up here also.
Oh, so y'all got some big things coming up to Boston in the next couple months.
That's right. So I'm hoping to go to the Survivor Series show. I already have my tickets for SmackDown, so I can't wait for that. So other than that, I'm actually done talking SmackDown WWE because I have nothing else to add to it.
Big Show, don't cry next week
God.
because if you do, I'm gonna have to talk to Mark Henry about making sure you disappear for about a couple weeks.
Yes, we will send Mark Henry after Big Show because, after all, he is an angry Mark.
And on that note, the SmackDown Rundown is over. Thanks everyone for listening.
Yes, don't forget to check out all the other podcasts on angrymarks.com. Check out all the articles, recaps, everything else that's going on we provide to you. So with that being said, for producer Killer Kev, for my co-host King J, and a big shout out to everybody who has joined us in the chat room today, Dag Dog, D, Stevie J, and Sierra. Also Killer Kev, myself, and Jay are in there. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week when we preview the Elimination Chamber. Have a good weekend, everybody, and stay safe.